Imagine a time when the White House is once again occupied by a friend of liberty. Now, you may think I'm talking about electing Republicans. I'm not. I'm talking about electing lovers of liberty.
Liberty, freedom, keywords here at CPAC. I can tell you, Rand Paul, by far the most popular speech so far, probably the most popular speech. Well, we got Ann Coulter tomorrow and Sarah Palin. Maybe they'll top them, but we're not sure. Katherine Timpf is with me now from Campus Reform. We've talked to her many times before. And Katherine, it was interesting watching the crowd react, very young crowd reacting to Rand Paul as well, right?
Yes, definitely. There was young people packed in here. Everyone loves Rand Paul, I think because he focuses on freedom. He focuses on issues that everyone can agree on, such as we don't want people going through our phones.
Yeah, the NSA. I don't know how many times he mentioned the NSA, but he just kept talking about the emails. And in fact, I had to take a phone call in the middle of his speech. And as I'm going to dial a number, he's saying, if you have a cell phone, the government is spying on you.
Right, exactly. And he started out the speech saying we need to vote for people who support freedom regardless of party. And you would think that in a room like this wouldn't go over that well. And at first it didn't. But then he started talking about issues that everyone can agree on. Everybody here loves freedom. Nobody here wants their cell phone being gone through. So we need to have people that are going to focus on issues that can gain a larger support instead of, even in a room like this, he's not afraid to do that.
But I think that the freedom agenda can be that thing that unites social conservatives, fiscal conservatives, libertarians. Maybe not defense conservatives, maybe not, but it is that thing that makes this country, that makes Canada, that makes, well, used to make Britain, great countries to live in. I think they're lost cause now. I call them once Great Britain, and they're going down the road to hell. But we can use this agenda to say, look, let's unite on these points that we agree on. You know, as Reagan said, 80% of, you agree with someone 80% of the time, they're not a 20% traitor, they're 80% friend.
Right, and you can just see, obviously conservatives are divided on social issues, libertarians and social conservatives, and that turns a lot of young people away, I think. A lot of young people aren't so socially conservative, and then the ones that are fighting about it with that. And when there's so many things that you can unite on, it doesn't really make sense to focus on the things where we're different within the party.
Yeah, I can't believe there wasn't a bigger fight against the light bulb ban.
Right,
against the government coming in and saying, you know what, I think you'd look better with this light. I think that, you know, your living room would be better with a curly-Q bulb.
Right, just because the government likes this product better, all of a sudden everyone has to use it. That's kind of a very strange precedent, especially since they're not really safer. If you break one, you get mercury poisoning and you have to use it. It can give some people seizures, but the government likes it best. And a lot of people didn't really talk about that. I was kind of surprised by that too, especially because a lot of all these factories had to close, and it's not the US, it's not anybody that's good at making these, it's all overseas. China.
It's China. And they have a great environmental record, don't they, in China? We all know that. The air that you can chew.
And that should be something that's important to youth too, because youth unemployment is so high, not even in the United States, but all around the world, that a lot of young people aren't having jobs. So we really should be taking a look at why they don't have jobs and where they could be having jobs and who's taking those jobs away.
Catherine Fields was telling me yesterday that youth unemployment in the U.S. is 17%. And you look at the fact that there are fewer, you mentioned those jobs going away, fewer people working in manufacturing in the U.S. than at any point since 1941, before Pearl Harbor and the war machine ramped up. That should be a staggering and worrying statistic for your generation.
Absolutely, and even a lot of the young people that do have jobs, they're jobs they don't need a college degree before, and they do have a college degree, and they have all this student loan debt. So we have this whole generation of people that so many of them are living at home in their parents' basement. The only thing that's changed is now they have a diploma on the wall reminding them of how much money they owe and how depressing it is that they're right back there again. So they need to start looking at why, and I think more young people are starting to look at why, that maybe they didn't get the deal they wanted with Obama and what's different. So I think conservatives have a real opportunity to focus on the free market, focus on economic issues, that everybody wants economic success.
So let me ask you this. You've had Ted Cruz, Rand Paul, Chris Christie march through this room and make their appeals, and so far, to me, those are the three guys that I see jumping in the race for 2016. I was shocked at how popular Christie was yesterday. Where do you think it'll go? How do you think this will play out? Will Ted Cruz jump in? Who do you think would be the front runner at this point?
I think a lot of people were annoyed by what Ted Cruz did with the Make DC list, and maybe just because I lived in DC and a lot of people were not going to work and not making money because of it, but I really think Rand Paul, I really think libertarians a lot of times don't even vote. But if Rand Paul were a candidate, I think they would go out and vote. And social conservatives, no matter what, are never going to vote for a Democrat. So regardless, I think that he encompasses what Republicans need in the next election.
And I haven't heard his position on something like the abortion issue, but I have heard his father, the grandfather of libertarianism in America, give a very liberty-oriented defense of why he is pro-life. So maybe Rand will come out with the same thing. He can bridge that divide. I find him an engaging, an exciting guy, and I think that he could take on Hillary Clinton. I think he has the charisma and the stature to do it.
I agree. Definitely agree with that. Yeah.
Any other predictions of what you've liked coming in or out of the convention before we let you go?
No, I'm going to be interested to see how Ann Coulter does tomorrow. She's always interesting to watch, definitely.
Well, we'll be talking to Ann shortly, and she'll be debating Mickey Koss from, I forget, one of the liberal websites. Liberal writer. She calls him the smartest liberal in America. You don't want to miss that. We've got nonstop coverage of CPAC on Sun News.